there is intense turmoil at the highest ranks of the Canadian military tonight after Global News broke the story about allegations of sexual misconduct against the former chief of the defense staff. The man appointed to replace him has also stepped aside, and he is also under investigation. General Jonathan Vance stepped down in January as chief of the defense staff after announcing his retirement last year. Admiral Art McDonald took over, and now, just 6 weeks later, he's also stepped aside pending an investigation. The reason has not been made public. The CBC is reporting McDonald is also being investigated for suspected sexual misconduct. We have complete coverage tonight from Mercedes Stephenson and David Akin in our Ottawa bureau. David, let's begin with you.
Well, Donna, we start with a middle-of-the-night bombshell involving Canada's highest-ranking military officer, and that has plunged the Canadian forces into a crisis.
Uncharted territory and a real body blow to the Department of National Defence and the Canadian Armed Forces. I mean, this is really, I think, a crisis for our military.
It was well known that this type of misconduct was happening within the ranks, from running from bottom to top.
Admiral Art McDonald's decision to voluntarily step aside was announced in a statement published by the military after 11 p.m. Eastern Wednesday. No official explanation for McDonald's decision was provided, but in the House of Commons Thursday, the Deputy Prime Minister had this to say.
Every woman in Canada should be able to do her job free of harassment. The Canadian Forces National Investigation Service has confirmed an investigation into Admiral McDonald.
McDonald, who has made no comment on the matter, is a decorated naval officer who had only been chief of the defense staff for 2 months, replacing General Jonathan Vance, who served nearly 40 years in the Canadian Army. Vance is under investigation for allegations of inappropriate sexual conduct towards 2 female subordinates. Vance denies the allegations.
What's disappointing is when the chain of command is either part of the problem or the chain of command doesn't have the opportunity to do the right thing because they don't know about the issues themselves.
People need to realize that it's bigger than just the issue of sexual misconduct. It's an issue of shifting culture. It's an issue of power imbalance. And we need to take a wider lens if we really want to make any change that's going to make any difference.
In the meantime, Lieutenant General Wayne Eyre will become the acting chief of the defense staff. Eyre is a Saskatchewan native who joined the military in 1988, and he will not be unfamiliar to the chain of command in this country and among our allies.
You really just can't understate or underplay how disruptive something like this is for our defense relations with the rest of the world and the defense of Canada.
Now, as for any further allegations, the government today insisting all allegations will be independently investigated regardless of the rank of the individual involved. Donna?
All right, David Akin, thanks. When 2 of the top leaders in the military are under investigation, what does that say about the organization itself? Our Ottawa Bureau Chief Mercedes Stephenson broke the story about the allegations against General Vance. Mercedes, you have lots of contacts within the military. What are you hearing tonight?
Donna, literally getting dozens and dozens of emails a day about this, but in particular, the last 24 hours have stunned and shocked people, even people who believed and had said that they thought that sexual misconduct was potentially endemic at senior levels of the Canadian Forces. Still stunned to see a second chief of the defense staff now under investigation by the CFNIS, the military police. A lot of people describing this to me as feeling like a reckoning in the Canadian Forces, as a moment when they will finally confront what Operation Honor was supposed to have achieved 6 years ago. But many, many women have told me that they don't feel that way. And to give you a sense of some of what I'm hearing, I'm getting emails saying the truth matters. I, too, am a survivor of military sexual assault. Finally, at the time, I wondered what I had done. From one man who was kicked out of the Canadian Forces who says, I was forced out for less. So you're really hearing people saying they feel that this is a moment when the Canadian Forces has to confront this problem that they believe was happening with commanding officers and at the senior ranks. We spoke to one woman who is a survivor of military sexual trauma. She told us what her experience was like.
A guy here, a guy there. You know, you don't do something one guy wants, and then all of a sudden you become a target. You're really unsure of what to do. You don't know who you can and can't talk to, so you kind of just put up with it for a long time. It's demoralizing. It scares you.
And the main thing we're hearing, Donna, is really that people have taken courage from what Major Kelly Brennan said to Global News and her willingness to speak out and put her name and face on it.
Mercedes, this is such a shakeup at the most senior level. What happens now? How does the military fix this?
Well, essentially, a lot of folks are saying cultural change, that it can't just be talking the talk, it has to be walking the walk. And that means those top officers can't be saying one thing and doing another. And on top of that, they are looking at everyone. This has been described to me as a dragnet, that they are going to go through and try to find out who there's allegations against and pursue those in a way that has not been done before. Donna?
All right, Mercedes Stephenson in Ottawa, thank you.